Hey guys, it's Han, and today I have my GMade Sawback. This is a truck I did a review on a long time ago. That's on my channel. And after I finished the review of this thing, I ended up trading it off to my friend. So most of the miles that this truck has seen has been put on by my friend. But eventually, it ended up coming back around to me, and I decided to make some changes and kind of build it up. I also just got the chassis back. The body was pretty much destroyed, um, and it didn't have any wheels and tires or anything. I don't think. So I ended up putting some wheels and tires on it. There's also some upgrades that he made to it. So I just wanted to talk about what it's sitting like at the moment, and then I'll show you guys a little bit of running footage at the end. But yeah, so for those of you guys that don't know, the Sawback is based on GMade's GSO1 chassis, and it's a pretty old design at the moment. At this point, it came out when the SCX-10, like the original one, was still for sale. The SCX-10 2 wasn't even a thing yet, so it's a pretty old truck, and I went over this truck a lot more in detail in the review. So if you guys want to see more in detail about the chassis, you guys can check out the review. But speaking of the SCX-10, I do have the SCX-10 Honcho front cab on this truck. The thing about the Sawback is because it's a like 11 point something wheelbase chassis, it's kind of hard to find bodies that fit this. And because it's a leaf sprung chassis, you can't really adjust the wheelbase as easily. So it was kind of difficult to find a body for it. So what I ended up doing was I ended up trying to find a body that was a front cab. Proline used to have a bunch of bodies that was just a front cab. A lot of them seem to have been discontinued. So I ended up finding this body on at a hobby shop. So I picked it up and I kind of did it up to look like a GMade body. You can see all the GMade stickers. You can see it says GMade here. And then where it says Axial on the side, I replaced it with Sawback. On the back here, on the rear window, you can see GMade, Sawback. So I think the body turned out pretty well. And then I added a little touch here that says Made in Korea. Because, of course, GMade is a Korean brand. And me also being Korean, I kind of have like a I don't know, like kind of like a pride for GMade stuff, just because they were made in the same place I was. So I thought that was pretty neat. But yeah, I had to cut out the fender a little bit to clear the wheels. You can see there's extra holes in the front because I actually accidentally put the holes in the wrong place. So now there's random holes in the hood, which is kind of annoying, but whatever. This is, of course, the clear body that I painted up. So I have the light buckets in here. So I will put the headlights in there eventually. And then for the rear, since it doesn't have a bed, I decided to make it a rear-engined Toyota. So you can see the little GMade receiver box cover. It looks like a V8 engine. So I put that in the back. And there's another reason why I put this in the back. I'll show you in a second. But put it in the back to kind of make it look like it has a rear-mounted engine, which I thought was pretty cool. And then this spare tire, I just ended up zip tying to the frame back here. And I think that looks pretty cool. I don't know where this metal bumper is from, but my friend added that. And that's also a pretty nice touch as well. Up front, he has, my friend put on a Axial Wraith Integer front bumper on it, which I guess works out pretty well. I do eventually want to put a different front bumper on it, but he did have to cut up the chassis to get this one to fit, so I don't know what bumpers would fit on it anymore, but I don't know. It looks fine for now, so it's acceptable. The wheels and tires on it are from a Red Cat Gen 7. These are all the wheels and tires are from the Red Cat Gen 7. Stock foam, stock tires, stock wheels. Just exactly how they came on the Gen 7. And if you guys know me, I absolutely love the Gen 7. I absolutely love the Gen 8. And these Red Cat Interco Super Swamper tires are pretty great tires. So I quite like these. And they work pretty well for some cheap RTR tires. So pretty happy with those. I think also the overall look of the wheels goes really well with the overall color scheme of the truck. So that's also pretty cool. Now to mount the body, I have two body clips here on the hood, which is pretty typical stock body mounts. And I also have two body clips on the side here to kind of hold the body on. And once we take the body off, oh, also the body, you can see it's matte, has a matte finish on it. I achieved that by painting it with just the regular Duratrax colors, masking off the windows, and then spraying it with Tamiya flat clear. And it has a nice little matte finish look to it, and I really like how this body turned out. But yeah, the rear body mounts here are just some Tamiya body mounts that I just screwed on. They are kind of flex, they do move around, but once the body clips and stuff are on it, they do hold the body pretty well, so I don't really mind. And I actually like that they're slightly articulated like this because it makes it easier to put the post through the hole in the body. Now, when I got this back, the leaf springs on it were broken because his young daughter ended up like jumping it and like kind of using it as a monster truck and ended up breaking the leaf springs. So when I got it back, I got it with the bumpers on it, no wheels and tires, and with broken leaf springs. So I ended up replacing all the leaf springs with brand new ones, and I only put the main leaf and then I think the middle leaf on, which makes it a lot less stiff and makes the suspension actually work. So that's pretty good. The only downside to that is when you do that, you have a higher chance of axle wrap, which is on leaf spring trucks because there's no links or anything holding it on, and the only thing holding on the drive shaft and the axle is the drive shaft and the leaf springs. Under heavy torque, you can see the axle tends to like try to wrap itself around the spring, and that's especially bad on the rear where all the torque is going. So I did end up putting on the GMade anti-wrap bars. I don't know if you can see that on camera. They just look like little upper links that I put on there. They don't move it, they don't stop it from completely like flexing, but it does stop it from wrapping around. So I think that's a pretty good upgrade for this. When you order the anti-wrap kit, it only includes 2 bars. So if you want them for front and rear, you're gonna have to order 2 sets, which I didn't realize. So I am going to have to order a second set for the front end. Now, speaking of the front end, you can see there's this huge T-plate thing going on here. This is the GMade upgraded battery tray. The stock battery tray on the GMade GSO1 is pretty annoying. It's like 2 little like brackets over here with no full plate or anything, just 2 little brackets that you're supposed to basically perch the battery on and then zip tie it on. And one that's in the rear of the chassis, which sucks for weight distribution. Also, it's just kind of a stupid battery mount. I never liked the battery mount situation for this. So they do offer this plate, which lets you mount the battery either here or forward like this. I usually mount it up front like that for the most weight distribution up front, but you can mount it over here as well. The only downside to this battery tray is even though it puts the weight balance up front, it also raises the center of gravity up. Because on the stock battery tray, it nestles within between the frames. But then if you put this battery tray on it, it sits on top of the frame. So that raises the center of gravity. Also, this is a pretty heavy and big battery tray. So Not the biggest fan of this battery tray design, but it's better than the stock one, so I'm dealing with it. You can see it still has to use those stupid zip ties to mount the battery, which I still don't like, but again, it's better than stock, so it's whatever. I'm going to see if I can try to find a way to mount the battery down here on the chassis frame so that it's forward but also lower down. So something to mess around with later. The shocks I replaced with these just generic Amazon, eBay oil shocks. So I don't remember if I put any oil in it, or I don't think I put enough oil in it because it is still quite bouncy. So I'll have to check the damping of these shocks again. But they are going to be a lot better than the stock shocks, which are literally just decorative. They don't actually do anything. So quite like the design of these and the look of these. I wish they were blue. But you know, that's an easy thing to change. So not really complaining about that. These side rails are also something I added. These are also an optional part by GMade because the GSO one also doesn't include any rock sliders. So I did have to add these myself. They are plastic and they are quite flexible, which some people are not going to be happy about. I personally like them pretty flexible and that they're plastic because they tend to slide on rocks a little easier. So that's perfectly fine for me. So I don't really mind. The motor is the stock GMade 27 turn motor that came on the RTR. The servo I'm using is also the stock GMade servo that came on the RTR. Both of them work perfectly fine. I've never really had any complaints about the stock servo or the stock electronics. I think it's fine. So I'm probably going to leave those in there until they break. Underneath, there's nothing else to really see here, but oh, inside the axles, I also did add the brass tubes, brass weighted tubes to lower the center of gravity a little bit more. So that's going to be nice. Eventually, I am going to put weights in the wheels. I haven't gotten around to it yet. It will definitely perform a lot better with weights in the wheels. The running video you'll see in a second is running exactly like this with no weights in the wheels. So it might flip over a couple times. We'll see. But yeah, that's going to help it a lot, especially since these beadlocks are just plastic beadlocks. Another thing I'll probably end up changing later is I'll probably end up replacing the wheel nuts because they're not wheel nuts. They're literally just lock nuts. They're not flanged or anything, so I will replace those. The GSO on Sawback also uses like really thin, weird plastic hexes, so I'll probably replace those with thicker axial like metal hexes, and that will push the wheels out a little farther and also just be better for durability. So those are just some things I'm planning. The ESC I'm using on it is also the stock GMade ESC. The receiver on it, I believe, is also the stock receiver. And I just have an EC3 plug on here. But yeah, that's just a little quick overview of my Sawback as it's sitting at the moment. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the running video, and I will see you guys next time.